Sabaha everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about the brand new Google Home Hub. It's the latest addition to the Google Home line of devices. So we have the Mini, we have the regular Google Home, the Google Home Max. This is a personal Google Home Hub, your centralized hub for automation, personal information, and something you can actually feel comfortable putting it either on your desktop or even on your nightstand. This is TK. Let's go through a quick setup and review of the brand new Google Home Hub. Truly is very nice to finally have it at home. So this is the Google Home Hub, hands-free help at home. Now, the reason why I say personal, this actually is a 7-inch 720p LCD display. It's a very small display considering that the Lenovo sizes started at 8 and the larger one is at 10 inches. And those are intended really to be more in a communal area, similar to the way the Google Home and the Home Mini and the Home Max are supposed to be. It's intended to be in an area where there's more people walking around, you can interact with it and get answers. Where this one, it's really meant to be put on a nightstand on your desk, intended for one person for the most part to use it. Also, no camera, that's one of the main features. Some of the integrated services obviously is Google Calendar, Google Maps, Nest, of course, since it's a Google family product, YouTube, YouTube Music, Spotify, and of course Google Photos. But best part is the Google Assistant, as you'd expect. And here we have it. I did pick up the charcoal version. There is a few colors available on the Play Store. Again, 7-inch display. This is an LCD 720p display, and that little thing on the front is basically an ambient light sensor, and these are two microphones. There is no camera on this, as opposed to what we have with the other options. Even though they have a privacy mode, this one's really intended just to give you information and no real question about, do I want to use this to make a video call? This is not going to happen here. The rest of the stuff in the box are pretty simple. We have a power brick. If I'm not mistaken, this is a 15-watt power charger, proprietary cable, so no micro USB connections. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else here, just a quick start guide, and you're ready to use it. Looking around the display, we do have a protective plastic put on it. So you can, first thing you want to do here is take this out. So looking around the actual display, as I mentioned to you guys, we have an ambient light sensor, two microphones. On the left side, we don't have anything. On the right side, we have a volume rocker. On the back, we have a mute button, so similar to the way that we have them on most Google Homes. Turning it on gives that little orange indicator saying that you muted the microphone. Otherwise, it'll work the normal way. In the back, what we have here essentially is the power connector, the G for Google, of course. And you can kind of see it here, the little shadowing part. And that's basically where the speaker is going to be emanating the sound. So the sound on this is going to be emanating behind you. So putting it closer to a wall will reverberate the sound and give you a better experience. We do have a non-slip material on the bottom here to be able to basically just put it down. And then I think that's pretty much it. There's nothing else on this side, nothing else. The textured material is very similar to the Google Home and the Home Mini. Once we plug it in, for the most part, all we need to do is, it tells you right there, download the Google Home app and then launch it, and then make sure you're logged into your own account. Now, as you can see here, this is the revamped version of the application, and then we're going to go through the process. If the device does not prompt you, meaning you don't get a notification right away, you can basically just go into the plus sign and add this device. So I'm going to be set up a new device. I am going to be setting up a new device in your home. I'm going to click home, go next, give it a second for it to go through the process to locate, and it's going to show me basically that the Google Home Hub 9674 is ready to be paired. And it's right there, Google Home Hub. I'm going to select it from the list, go next, and it says connecting to the Google Home Hub. Now we'll see that special code on here as well as on the actual device. So once we compare the two, we should be ready to go to the next step. The next step would be, for the most part, I was going to say, if you want to share the information, you can say yes or no. Where is this going to be? I'm going to basically say that it's going to be in the office. I'll say next. It does have the ability of just learning from your existing networks configured into your mobile device. So for me, for the most part, I always like to connect to this. So it's compatible with 5 gigahertz. I'll go ahead and say next. And of course, do you want to use this device for future setups? I'll say yes, I'll click OK. Now this information is being sent over. You'll notice right there, it says connecting to TV Home _5. I'll let it go through the process, and then we'll go to the next step after that. Here, it's pretty much asking us to do the personalization for the Google Assistant. If you have it configured on your mobile device on the same account, it is going to transfer over. So I'm just going to say, yes, I agree. It is basically just the transfer files that are the voice match files that you set up that one time, a long time ago, when you used to use hey and okay and the assistant keyword to be able to teach you your voice, that will transfer automatically. And as you're seeing right there, the update is still going through. It's at 96, 97, 98, 99. and it should be able to start installing and rebooting the device. So here it's asking us to go through the personalized options. So this is where it recognizes your voice, and if you ask it for calendar information, it's only going to give you your calendar, not everybody else's in your account or in your household. So after confirming your address, just to make sure the location that this device is located in, you can configure it for your services. So if you have Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, this also works obviously with YouTube Music, YouTube TV, and Google Play Music. There is no Netflix support at this point, although I did hear that they could be coming down the road. Pretty much just a summary here. The default music application, I always like to have it as Google Play Music, not YouTube Music. Although you have a bigger selection here with videos in it, for the most part when I'm listening to music, I'm not really looking to look at video all the time. And if I do, when you're asking it to do so, just ask it for the source to be YouTube Music. Last but not least, you can set up obviously additional video services. So there's Viki, Stars, HBO Now, CBS. Again, as I mentioned, Netflix is not currently supported, but it hopefully should come in as a supported service in the future. Now here's one of the cool things about this. It actually will look for anything that was like technically is the nearest Chromecast that it can control. So for me in the office, I have the 4K Ultra version of the Chromecast that I have at home. So I'm going to allow it to basically mirror with it. You can select the different images and the different types of images that can go through here, and you can go add different ones. So you have featured photos, we have fine art, of course, we have earth and space, as well as street art. And you can add additional ones, of course, down the road if you want to customize this library. And that's pretty much it for the most part. This just explains to us, this is the ambient EQ light sensor. That's that little sensor that's sitting on the top. The mute button is on the back. The volume rocker is on the, well, I guess this would be on the right side here since this is the back. And of course, the office display is ready. I'm going to go ahead and say continue. And it's done. On the display itself, you'll notice it says finished setup.
Hi, how can I help?
So you can use your voice to get help at a glance. Check it out. Jumpstart your day with a personalized routine.
A few things that happen. We did notice that it did update itself, so it's running the latest software, as well as the fact that we selected to have these type of pictures on the actual display, so I can swipe through them, select whatever image, and it'll keep rotating depending on what you have. The initiation of this is purely by voice. Using it is going to be a service based by voice. There is no button to initiate it, so there's no way for me to turn it on without saying the actual keyword. So I'm going to try to mute all of those as we go through that. But as far as the UI, it's basically just an information-based UI. There is no apps to download. There is no information to change other than what it already has. You have your morning information if you have reminders, top stories for you from Google News, Google Play Music for music, as well as YouTube here for videos. And of course, we have for the upcoming Play News, Good Morning. Those are just routines that you can actually turn on. And then turning on the Good Morning one will also give you news and as far as top news in your area. Last but not least, of course, you can explore more things that the assistant can do. From the bottom, we can control the brightness of the display as well as the volume. We can also control the volume using the little jog dial on the right side. Do not disturb mode does have a button here, as well as the fact that we have a couple of options. One, which is about the device. Nothing really we can change here other than just to see what it is. The other option is to give feedback, and that it allows us to give recommendations and
okay, what do we need to fix?
That option really pretty much helps you send feedback and recommendations for new services. Now the cool feature about this obviously is the fact that not only does it have a speaker, but it also has this additional function that is very similar to the way the new Google Home application works. So if you have the Google Home application on your device, you can go to it directly, and of course you can go home. You'll notice that the display kind of mirrors what we have here. You have toggles for the thermostat, broadcasting message across the house. You no longer have to actually say it. You can also, of course, office lights on and off, since I actually have them on right now. The lights, you can control the different lights at the house. You have the lights, kid bedroom, master bedroom, office lights. And of course we have media. You can control media from multiple devices on the network, every single one. You'll notice that there I have the kitchen display, and that feature that I'm showing you guys right now, this is coming to the kitchen display soon. So keep an eye on that if you already have one. Of course, since you have Nest services, if you have a Nest camera, it will show up with cameras. I don't anymore. But of course, I have a Nest thermostat and I can control it here. Very nice. And you can of course see the different rooms, the office. I can always turn off the lights. I have TK Ultra built in here, the office home, and then of course the office speakers. And of course I can go into different rooms swiping away. You can ask it anything as far as just basically, hey Google, show me the weather in Beijing for the next 10 days.
In Beijing tomorrow, it'll be cloudy with a high of 56 and a low of 38.
For a really good personal response, hey Google, show me pictures from my recent trip to Berlin.
Showing your photos.
So this was from my recent trip that I was going to IFA. I landed in Berlin. This is Tegel. This is the airport. Of course, I went there for the honor event. It's very personalized. It did go through and it basically just sorted through all of my images and knew exactly where I was. Play some NCS music.
Sure, playing your Google Play Music playlist called NCS.
So the display turns into a music player. You have the artist, of course, the album art. You can scrub through it, and of course you can skip to the next track and you can play other songs. The main benefit, of course, is that even if you go home, it adds that little card for you here. And even if you go all the way home, the music keeps playing. And you can pause it, you can ask it to play videos directly from YouTube. Hey Google, play videos from YouTube from TK Bay. Hello, hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a comparison between the TicWatch. So it pulled up my latest video. Of course, I can swipe up from the top here. It keeps the video on the top right, and I can scroll through my library of videos. Again, it's really cool, it's really functional. You can do obviously recipes from this. Hey Google, show me the best pancake recipe.
Sure, here are some recipes.
You can go through, obviously, all recipes, you can select it. It gives you not only the time, the start time, and you can say start cooking, and it'll walk you through the step-by-step process.
There are 7 ingredients.
And of course, all of this is really cool. Now, swiping from the left is pretty much your back button. There is no buttons, obviously, on this. And it really works very nice. It'll keep the cards of the recent things that you were looking for, and as it learns more your habit, it becomes very functional. The last thing I want to show you guys is if you ever want to go back in and change and customize everything on your Google Home Hub, the main thing is find your display directly within the Home application, click on it, and you'll notice it kind of mirrors the same image that we have here on both of them. You can go into the settings tab, that little option there. You can customize the bass and the treble for music playback. The ability of going directly into ambient mode here, that customizes that display. We set it up to be art. We can go full screen clock, of course. We can go experimental, and we'll be able to add Facebook and Flickr. Those are cool options, as well as, of course, special albums within Google Home or Google Photos as well. You can go for weather as far as hide and show. You can also go for time. You can go personal data, photo information, all of that stuff can be customized. And of course, you can have the slideshow speed configured here from 1 minute. Well, I guess it goes for 1 minute, 10 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and 5 seconds, depending on your preference. The slower it is, I think the more natural it looks. As far as device settings, you can go in there, customize the alarms, the name, the home, of course, the grouping, the office, the Wi-Fi, of course, ambient mode on, guest mode on, accessibility, of course, preview program. This is if you want to be able to get early access to, let's say, preview software. It will push updates that may not be available to everybody at the, initially. Display, of course, about the display, home, night mode, lower the volume while listening, of course, let others control if you want to be able to have guest modes turned on. Paired Bluetooth devices, this will work like a Bluetooth speaker the same way your Google Home Mini or your Google Home will work. Of course, default music player, office music player, and of course the default TV, which when we set it up with the Chromecast 4K, so if I ever want to cast to it, it will cast to that display and turn on the TV for me. And of course, do not disturb, equalizer, which is what we were in, group delay connections, as well as privacy, time and date, all of that good stuff. The Home Hub is definitely a really nice addition to the line of devices that we already have. Now, it's smaller in form factor, which makes it a little bit more personal, and I think it's a little bit easier to have on your desk or even on your nightstand as opposed to having like a big one. I do have the Smart Display, and that's a 10-inch, for the most part, a 10-inch massive tablet, and I think that fits better in the kitchen, which it really does work better. But for this size of a display, because it's actually small and it's 720p, it looks really good up close, and it's easy to interact with. That little toggle that I showed you guys at the beginning in the video when I was going through it, that option will be coming to the Smart Display. So if you have a Smart Display at home, don't worry, you are going to get some of these functionalities. Again, the form factor though, this is pretty much unique on its own. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? I mean, it sounds great. It has all the functionalities that we want out of a Google Home and a Home Mini, even a Home Hub, because it really does function that way. It's a centralized hub for automation, your Google Assistant access, as well as, of course, all the information that you want. And of course, it pushes everything to your phone, connects to Chromecast. It does a lot of stuff. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.